Hi, everyone. Hello, and welcome to our second session of Up to the Challenge. So, every session will host guests that highlight the different SDG themes covered in Financial Times and SDG Challenge. So, let me see if people are joining one by one. I know for some countries it's early because we're so global, for some countries it's quite late. But feel free to drop in the chat the country where you connected from and how do you feel today. I think it's important. So feel free to drop the comments in the chat. And on my end, as today we're talking about quality education, I wanted to give you a little bit of details and information on what is it happening now in the SDG, that is quality education. So while the efforts to increase accessibility for quality education are quite remarkable and we have a grand results, there are still some gaps. So, however, we are great in showing 91% of people who are enrolled in primary school in developing countries. There's still a long way to go because there are still 57 million primary age children remaining out of school, and the most of them are in sub-Saharan Africa. So in developing countries, which was like fascinating for me, there are 1 in 4 girls are not in school. So, and the half of all out of school children are remaining in these conflict affected areas. So, and then 103 million youth worldwide even lack basic literacy skills, and more than 60% of those 103 are women. Just let's think about it. So, like showing and kind of thinking about this data, we still have a need for innovation, entrepreneurs to kind of rethink the process, the methods, and to make this accessibility to the quality education for everyone. So, first of all, if you are innovating in a quality education, you can apply to our Financial Times and SDG challenge through the link that you can see in the comments, and I'm sure my SeedStars team will support us with that. So feel free to apply to the challenge if you are affecting the quality education SDG. So now, let's kick it off once again. So my name is Eugenia and I'm from SeedStars. So I am growth program and acceleration program manager. I'm running the I would say 3 pillars. First is a UN Women Care Accelerator. The second one is a growth program and a value add platform for SeedStars portfolio companies. So this is a quick overview of who I am and why am I presenting today. But today is a special day because we're talking about quality education, and we have an amazing guest. I mean, I'm always have so much respect for this person, and I want to welcome on our virtual stage our global winner of SeedstarsWorld Competition 2020, and most important, founder and CEO of a global organization which is Studyfree. So let me welcome Dasha on stage. And while you're joining, I will have a word. Hey, Dasha, super happy to see you as always.
Hi. It's
Hi.
6 a.m. from West Coast in States.
I know for me it's 8 a.m. in Mexico. We're early birds today. Super happy to see you. And first of all, we'll give a quick overview that Studyfree for everyone. Studyfree is an online platform that connects students with international education opportunities. So Dasha and her team help students to study abroad for free with the help of grants and scholarships. But I'm sure, Dash, you will explain a little bit more better, first of all, about yourself as a person and about the Studyfree as well.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much, Eugenia, for such a warm intro. Yeah, my name is Dasha Kroshkina. I'm CEO and founder of Studyfree, and we help to connect talented students from all over the world with international opportunities worldwide. So we help them to become successful in life. We're connecting them with education, scholarship and grants, various funding opportunities, as well as helping them with being successful during education and then career, and so on and so forth. This whole topic is very personal to me because I was like typical of the student coming from a very small township, never had a chance to study abroad. And then I managed to win lots of scholarships and grants and study abroad for free. And now it's my mission to help other people to do the same. Right now, we're actively helping students across Europe, India, Africa, as well as Latin America, so mostly focusing on the emerging markets and trying to disrupt this whole international admission and education market and make it much more available and accessible for everyone.
That's great. I mean, I'm all the time so amazed by everything that you do yourself and Studyfree in general. So if you can also just tell us a little bit more about how do you support the SDG goals of quality education, like maybe a little bit more details, because anyways, I think it's already support with your mission of the company, but a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. So look, first of all, I guess making education available for everyone and really trying to solve this, like to narrow this huge gap between, like access, like access towards quality education, especially in the emerging markets. We do this in a very multiple ways, but the primary way is to help the students, is to give them access to scholarship and grants and really facilitate, recipients of the scholarship and grants and with like the highest possible probability. Because, there's like such a huge asymmetry of information. Sometimes, like some people just don't know that it's possible, or like, like it's so like limited for them. So we purely work with the students. We never work with the universities. We also just recently created our own scholarship, Studyfree scholarship, that's going to support not just education itself, but also the whole process of preparation. Like anything that comes within, like just making the first steps, because there's like lots of people who really afraid to make the first step towards, like great education, just because, like I don't know, sometimes don't have even have money like to the plane tickets, I don't know, like to take an exam, like to take, like to have admission fees submitted. Yeah, so we're trying to help it in so many different ways, and we're also very much community driven. So I believe, like the people should help people, and and we connect people, like with other really successful alumni, people who have been successful, like already got education, got scholarship, got the job in some different countries, and they help each other, and they motivate, they support, they encourage, they really, like becoming role models of each other, and being like very much not just emotional but also informational support. So I would say, that's kind of like the scope where we stand right now.
No, I really like the scope is so global, and yeah, everything is like, I don't know, amazing what you're doing. But I really wanted to ask you like how it all started, because you talked about like first step, but as you are global and like going into different countries and different markets, like how it all started.
It started with like $300 in my pocket. I think you personally heard the story like I don't know how many zillions of times already, from the pitch competition stages to like speaking events.
I
Yeah, it started from
you can repeat it as many as you want.
it started was my personal story, as I briefly mentioned. So I did myself first of all, and I got education. I studied for free in I'm Russian initially, and I studied for free first in Spain, then in China, then I was working in Singapore, and then I studied in the States. And whenever I was gone, I was meeting people from like many different countries, and I heard like, oh my god, I never knew it was possible. That would change my life. And that's how I started, to help students. Initially, we didn't have, I would say, much innovation apart from like beyond just Google Doc and spreadsheets. So we just, like getting the first students, helping them being placed, like, and then reinvesting into developing company. And we just started to build the actual tech product to make it to scale, maybe like in 9 months. But I knew from the beginning that everything I'm doing, like should really contribute to the end goal, and the end goal is make the scalable product that would be able, like to serve uh like students from like any country. And the only way to make it affordable is to make it the most, like automized, I mean like automated, like just to minimize, I would say, human involvement, because in this way you can decrease margin and you can decrease price. In the same way you can make the product accessible for like students, I don't know, in Nigeria, students in Africa, like and lower income parts of the population in any given country. And it's been a like very iterative process. We started with like bootstrapping, validated that we can help, validated our expertise, that we can help like students. We actually started to try going abroad quite early, still on the stage of kind of like having like Google Doc and spreadsheets, because it's really important for me to understand that what we're doing is really applicable and scalable to like other countries. And I think it's really important to keep in mind that global product that you're building, because and to keep in mind all the possible all the possible, I don't know, like pivots and like and sides of the business that might not be noticeable when you just build company like in your own country. So we just started to do like as early as possible. Not all of this worked out, like it was like pretty complicated, but yeah, we keep pushing. And then like we started to get the funding and started to invest heavily into the tech product.
That's great. I think that's a very inspiring part for other entrepreneurs, that you don't need to be like closed in your product and like work on it. And like you really need to roll it out there, check the market, test and see like what works and what not, which is like super, super important. One thing, I see the comments in the chat. So they're asking like what level of education. There is a question from Kaimuri. But we can interpret into two ways. So, Dasha, what is your level of education, and what level of education you are impacting on?
Yeah, so let's start with the second one because I like talking about my company much more. We have was like various levels of education. So we started with like undergrad and then doing grad school, which is like master's, PhD. We also help with like MBA and like any types of professional experience. So say, and we also help with like prep, like prep schools. So anywhere, like from the age of 15 to I guess like 45, that's where we like very handy. We don't really work with the schools yet at this point in time, but anything after the school, that's our bread and butter. About my education, yeah, pretty much the same. I don't know, like undergrad, one country, double degree, grad school, quant finance. So yeah, nothing interesting.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, anyways, that's great. I mean, about the different level of educations that you're covering, and they're different in other countries as well, so they differ. So yeah, that's a great impact wise. But also like talking about impact and kind of the challenges and discrepancies that you've seen while working with students and parents. So I wanted to ask you like, what are the most like challenges that stand out there you faced while working with in this sector of quality education?
Um, like it was like especially I don't know, like it's so funny, and we face it in every single country, especially with parents. Sometimes like people just don't believe because it's too good, like sounds too good. People don't really because
Good
that's
to be
really
honest.
yeah, it's too good to be true. Like who's gonna do this for us? And especially in the emerging markets, like people like, oh my god, I mean like I've never seen about such a great opportunity. Like I never thought it would be available, and because it sounds so good, they can really believe it that it's like it is actually possible. It is for me, like it is for my kids, and you don't have to be genius. And it takes like a while, like quite a lot of time to really nurture this trust in the whole concept of like, hey guys, you can actually do this, and that's like for everyone. And we face this like in every single country, and yeah, so like every year, every month, like it's kind of like all the same. um yeah, I think that's the first one. The second, I think like whenever it comes to education, especially when like something I would say very not like complicated, but also like you're really kind of like trying to reach the top, like break the gap, and it's like very scary, and you have to deal with like lots of also emotions during the process, because like so many students, it's kind of like it's exciting, but at the same time it's terrifying. And at some point of time, like and when you have so many fears and confidence and you really want it, but it just like you're just so afraid I'm gonna make it. So sometimes just laughing, like that our biggest innovation is kind of like trying to get into becoming like really huge therapist for like students, working with their like motivation, engagement, and support. I would say like all of this, it's not like we're about like, hey, like the technology and so on. It always comes down to people, like and how I can support people and how I can ensure people how like people can be happy and believe in the concept, in the market, in the future, and sometimes in themselves.
Yeah, this is a very important part. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, because like I've been student myself, and I've been also studying abroad and in Cyprus. It's another story, but anyways, this like feeling of like, am I good enough as well for students, and when they're just starting their journey is so important that you kind of cover this part as well, like in between the lines. I think that's a great job that you're doing in the team. And yeah, talking about these like successful parts and like what have been achieved, like looking back in 3 years, do you have something to share about like what are you proud of in achievement with the, first of all, like with your company, and also in terms of the impact with the quality education?
Well, I'm definitely proud about the impact. I think that's like the beauty of the company, of the product, and everyone who like works in Studyfree can really commit to this, because you're doing really something good for people. Like we have, like people sending their like pictures and stories, like happy faces. Like I know like one of the first students that we helped, like she got a job and she got married, and like and she's like sending pictures, like and it's like it's so inspiring, like it's not just doing some tech, it's actually helping people, like to live a dream, and it's just so exciting. And I think the best part is that I talk about community all the time right now because that's like what I believe the most. But when I see like students that helped us, they stay with us and they start helping other students because like, hey, I got there. I know it's been tough. I know it's been scary. I like these guys. I like their mission, and actually join them. And they start like they join as mentors, and they keep supporting like students. And the whole like the concept of like continuous giving back in multiple ways, like us giving back, creating the company, our students get into the schools and giving back to the students, like who are now during the process. I think this kind of like the flywheel of the impact that we can like create it, and it just goes organically. And I do believe like in some point of time, maybe just students don't need it, like us to be very involved. We just show them how to do this. We just create infrastructure and ecosystem for them, and they can help each other and like reach out to many more people. And that's, I guess, like for the impact side. For the business, I don't know, like it's like so tricky, like from one side you have like I guess like from the standard view you have like so many I don't know, like accomplishments, or like I don't know, like awards, and that it's like the list just like I was like this yeah, I was like the speaker yesterday at one event, and she was like, can you just send me, like a bit of you, like um your awards, and I just send the list as like pick the one you like, whatever you think relevant. And it's like, of course, like being the SeedStars global winner. Like when people like ask me, because I got into Forbes 30 under 30, and was like ask me have you like your life changed, like over the night? It must be like the proudest moment. I was like, no, it was actually SeedStars, because like that's moments when you kind of like became like very, I mean, like noticeable globally, not just like in one country. So, um, but I don't know, like I don't think like I think recognition is important, but I think I'm really proud of um, not giving up on my crazy brave ideas and really creating the company. And I think I'm creating, like the culture of people where they, like they're brave enough to do something impossible, and people really believe that they can do impossible possible. And then I'm sometimes, like coming with some ideas like, hey guys, this is no one in the world is doing this, but we're going to do this. And it's like, yeah, and that's what I'm proud of, like having all the students, like growing up until now, and the rest, it's all super nice, all these recognitions. But I do think, like creating this culture and bringing up people, that's what I'm proud of the most.
Wow, it was like a wow roll of inspiration. I was inspiring myself like one, two, three. That's really like, I don't know, it's fascinating, Dasha, everything that you're talking about, and like how you are moved to US as well. Like, yeah, your life changed, your life changed, and then you started to grow the markets. I mean, like if we drop it down, as yeah, we mentioned the list, it's just a number of unbelievable events, I think, for Study Free and for your personal life. That's cool. And thank you for mentioning SeedStars. I mean, it's also warms my heart that you are talking about the like community and that help with some kind of recognition or like helping to know people from other countries, makes connections, and then bring it further.
It definitely helps. It's not just like I'm very like honest person, but like especially like when we talk about the emerging markets, like just having this like like supported by the seed stars, it just helps a lot. Because like me, like being a Russian girl who live in San Francisco, coming to like, I don't know, India or like Africa, and saying like, hey guys, we're gonna help you. It's like, who are you? And then like, hey, we're actually like from the seed stars, like, and they can like accept you, like because they know like you're gonna get their problems. But yeah, I think we have like lots of questions. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I'm also looking as well, because I'm like all the time so much interested in everything you do, but I'm super happy to give this time right now for answering some questions. And yeah, let's start with the Mahafahana. And what are the best steps for getting this great opportunity to get this scholarship, and like what would be the steps?
The steps to get the scholarship and grants, I would say like first you need to really understand what's your ultimate goal, and that's you always should start like from the end. And when I talk about the ultimate goal, is like, hey, I want to actually relocate, I want to move, I want to get a career, like I just want to get a quality education. And based on this, because like that's going to really impact on like what kind of like programs, what kind of like degree, and what kind of countries you're going to be looking at. So being like very transparent, and then to understand what you have right now, like what kind of like your chances at this point in time, and what kind of gaps you need to fill, because everything is possible, but not everything is going to be easy. Nothing of this is easy. And really to understand how much time you're willing to invest. If you want to kind of like check your chances, we have a free tool on the website. It's called like Chances Tool. Just run the backgrounds. You can understand what, like approximately like approximately where you stand in terms of your profile, and then you can take it from there. But anyways, just overall recommendation, start at least 1 year and a half in advance, like especially for the scholarship and grants. Like for example, if you want to start your education in September next year, deadlines are going to be like in 1 month actually. So like, and by this time you already have to have like your profile ready, your portfolio, a CV, all the exams, everything. So like make sure like you have like 1 year and a half or 2 years to make the process, and just be ready. Everything's possible, but you have to be very committed to this. Yeah. But anyways, we're happy to help like in any ways, to consult, to guide you through the process. We have like lots of articles for this as well.
Awesome. So you can go on Studyfree website and as well like deep dive and see everything there. And there is also a detailed question from Kaimuri, but who is eligible? If we go into details a little bit.
Who is eligible for the scholarships?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say like, well, first of all, there's like different types of scholarships. You have like merit-based scholarship, which is given on the like base of your success. I mean, like achievements, I would say. And here you look, there's like hard stop, I guess, requirements. Usually it's GPA, like your academic achievement should be above certain level. It should not be perfect, but we're talking about like I don't know, like US scale, like when there's like the most like 4.0, then it should be above like 3.2, or like if it's like European system, I mean like different ways, different systems, and have like certain level of English to pass exam, IELTS or TOEFL. And then they look like it's your achievements. By achievements, it's like it's really multidimensional. How many volunteer programs you're taking, how active you are, like leadership positions in like student organizations, how much you contribute, maybe some professional certificates. So it's really like a long list of like of this. This is one. But the second type of the scholarships also available. It's need-based scholarship. Is when you show that you actually need a scholarship because like the financial situation, and that's a bit different process. They usually look at like average income level. You still need to like get it, be the level where you can get admitted to the schools. So GPA and English level is still going to be requirements just by default. But you don't have to be like struggle or like anything. But the best case is then when you deserve a scholarship and when you need a scholarship, and that's how you show, and then when you get the most. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for breaking it down. Thank you for this. Okay, I hope we answered, Kamuri, your question. And one more thing from me on more the impact side, Studyfree itself. So first of all, like what we can expect next from Studyfree. Do you want to share with us some plans and ideas?
Yeah, terrific. We like changing so much all the time. I think especially right now we like being in a very innovative mood. Yeah, so yeah, we're just taking away from any, I would say, agent consultant types. Really, you're gonna see a very innovative and different way of placing community in the center of your product and being very community driven. But the community when it's not just a chat in like, I don't know, like Slack or like anything unmeasurable for the brands. Something really drives the product, user generated content, peer-to-peer mentorship, like leveraging the creators economy concept and putting this into education and coaching people, peer-to-peer coaching. But most importantly, I'm thinking more and more about the concept of investing into people. It's like scholarship and grants are great, but they're still, like it's given by the institutions. But what do we, like allow other people to support other people to invest in them? Like you have investments into startups, and some startups go to IPO, but the same could do with the people, because like there is such a huge, like arbitrage between, like talented people and their like future. If someone would invest into me $1,000 US 10 years ago, can you imagine what the return could be right now? So, and I really believe anything community driven, peer to peer financing, support, coaching in many different ways and dimensions. That's what we're looking at. And yeah, and definitely, I hope it's going to be in a few months. Really great news, but big rounds from cool funds. Yeah, that's where we had. Yeah.
Awesome. No, that's as always. I like that. My part here is fascinated about everything that you're saying here because I could just cannot stop like talking about how cool is it. So in terms like we have another question and I wanted to pick it up because we're a little bit like delayed on answering this. James, sorry for this. So Dasha, what is your opinion on education management systems that assist in the school administration, automation?
I will be honest, we don't work with the schools. So there's like multiple concepts. So like we don't really, I'm not really digging into the pains of the school. We just purely focus on the students itself. If we're gonna talk from the students, I know it sucks. Because like it's sometimes like all this automation comes, it's like like looking at the client and the company. In ideal case, like the student is the client, like is the customer of the university. But I think like lots of the systems, like are like focused on automating internal processes, but not delivering the value to the end customer, to the students. So like I would say we talk about the customer experience, because if the student is happy and if he's studying great and grading great marks and the retention is great, like this go to the end, that reflects all the processes within the schools. And sometimes I don't think, like they look at the students themselves. But again, I will be honest, that's not definitely my field, like of expertise, because I'm more like on the student side. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, and about the quality education in general. So, if we think about innovation and quality education, how do you think it's urgent for people to innovate in this field? And like, what would be like the economic impact on that? Just a little bit on this
Yeah.
impact theory topic.
Yeah, it's just, like what was like always confusing me, that somehow, like impact in like especially before was equal and almost charity or like free. But I do think when you can actually bring the impact at the scale, and I mean like innovation, it requires, like a bit different approach. I mean, like if you want to actually do like large scale impact and innovation, that requires, like some drive inside the whole system, and that should be economically, I don't know, like feasible. That is, I mean, like it's great to create, like a free fund is gonna help, I don't know, like 100 students. But what do we create a product that allows to bring impact, to be accessible, but at the same time to bring returns on the other side? In this way, so many more people are going to be willing and entitled, like um uh to do something that's going to impact like 100 millions of students. It's just, like sometimes, especially before, when I think like impact, lots of people think like of impact into like one direction. I impact someone. But if you give something, ideally you want to make it at scale and continuous and long time. It's the balance of the, I don't know, like universe to get back, and not just emotionally or like recognition of website to help someone, but like I give resource and I given some, like way back. That's why I was like talking about this concept of like investing in people. And I think, like in lots of the cases when we talk about like anything impact driven, we can like lag this part. I think like sometimes, like it's in mentality we have like a conflict. It's either impact or it's revenue. But I do think you can do both. And you can do large scale impact driven by the revenue and not sacrifice. It's not easy. It never easy, like do something great and kind, like and scalable. But I think, like finding these like monetization models that's gonna allow to do both. That's when I gonna allow us to do this at scale, like and help like many students. I mean like many people, like in the world.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of a common, I think, misperception that like revenue growth and then impact we'll think about later. But no, it's definitely, as you were saying,
Yeah.
to do both is possible. It's possible, and it's important. So, just a quick word that with the FT and SDG challenge, we're scouting for people who can propose innovative solution to inclusive quality education. We already have some comments about this challenge, and we will come back to it in the like final part of the talk. So stay with us. But Dasha, what's your opinion on the areas that are urgent to address in the quality education?
Well, I do think, I mean, we work kind of like on the top of the funnel, like of the education, like getting with the college. There's like so many people who just don't have access, like to the education. And, like there's so parts, like so many parts of the, I don't know, like of the population, some countries, they just never go to school. And like we can talk like hours of like how like make, I don't know, like educational content or like the system much more accessible. But like in some countries people don't have internet, like they don't have mobile network. They just cut off the access, like to just to knowledge in general. And I do think, like when it comes to bringing any kind of impact, either it's going to be education or climate or like human rights. I mean, like education, especially because it's a lot of like content consumption. It's really first comes down to creating the infrastructure and building the infrastructure based on what on top of what. I mean, like on which you can actually deliver the value. Because if you don't have like how you could do, like create some, I don't know, like course for like African students if they don't have access to the internet or like they just don't have a laptop. And I do think like this is urgent because no matter like how we're gonna, and this way it's really kind of like finding the model. I know like I was always thinking about like really utilizing, like it's like what about we combine like climate education. We have like responsible ways. You have so many companies who just throw away technology, but there's like so many millions of people who just need it just to get access, like to the Google, to the Wikipedia, or like anything, just any kind of information. And I think first, like leveraging and this arbitrage and like asymmetry of resources of the infrastructure, that's going to be the first step. And when we have it, then we can build, like and start with like, hey, how are we going to help the kids? How are we going to help, like schools? How are we going to help students on the top? And I think that's, yeah, that's what it is. Maybe it sounds like too vague, like, but that's what we're doing.
No, but it's still important. I mean, it's kind of challenging, yeah, to put it in maybe in one box. But yeah, that's definitely true what you're saying. And we have a question from Kaimuri, and she's asking like on a similar, let's say, topic of inclusivity for students with disabilities and specific learning disabilities. Are you doing something with this regard or planning to do?
We're definitely planning to do this, and I think it's kind of like gets into like parts of like building infrastructure, of like of allowing many like types of the people to have access for this. At least right now, what we want to do is kind of like highlight the programs that like inclusivity like friendly and students can go there. So like like for example they can like work with the students in this direction. We definitely want to implement something on our sites, like to make our product much more accessible. Yeah, just step by step.
Yeah, but that's good that you have it planned. Yeah, because it's also like important the inclusivity part. And we have another question from Theo. It's kind of a bit of a background. So some parents still think that their children are better off working at their farm instead of going to school.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of a misconception of parents about education, and it's kind of concerning for the audience. So, what do you have any thoughts on that?
Um, yeah, I think like too many thoughts. I mean, there's like multiple ways. The education one of the possible ways, but I do think the education is one of like the most powerful instruments that can break social barriers. You know, like I don't know. I can go back and forth how I can convince the parents. You know, just showing the stats of like average salary level of people going before the school and going after the school. That's first. But they just don't try the system because it didn't work for them. And it's like always the education might not be working in your country, but like it will be working in other country. If the education would not be working in general, there wouldn't be like such a huge shift. Like yeah, I don't know, like graduates from Stanford would not be making so much money. Like just by having this degree. So like the education definitely works, and sometimes to convince people with like subjective concerns, it's always better to have like objective arguments, like I don't know, I'm like data driven, show the data, show the stats, like show the feedback, and it's gonna work. And maybe they're just afraid, like because it's very unknown, and maybe they didn't get something themselves and then they don't trust the system. But it's always like how the parents care about the child in the future, and that's about how we prove them. But education definitely worth it. Education can be done in multiple ways. Sometimes you don't have to go to the college, like to get to your like level, but like getting some certificates. But it is still the most impactful, like, and the most powerful instrument, like for social lift.
Yeah, first of all, I know that you're great in convincing people, and that's awesome. And another part of this, I was thinking about like how you show data. You said to parents and feedback. So anything you can show us as a successful story, just one successful story that you are impressed yourself from the study free scholarships, engagements. What was that?
Yeah, I think like I like one girl. I do remember she was like so dedicated. She came to us. I think she was like 16 or something, and she was like playing tennis, but she had to work at the same time. So she was really willing to study abroad, and but like her parents didn't have money. She had to take care of her grandparents, and she had to work and study and play sports at the age of 16. But she was so dedicated, she just couldn't stop. And then like it didn't work out all between, like sometimes, like just to get extra money to pass like exam, she had to take a second job. But then she got an offer and a scholarship to study in States for the tennis. I mean, like it was a really difficult journey, really supporting. And yeah, right now she lives in States, and she's like super happy. She's like in her like second, like third year right now, and of the education. I do remember like one student, she was actually from my hometown, and she got a scholarship to study in China, and she right now graduated, and she actually opened her business, your own, and she opened a school of like learning Mandarin, teaching Mandarin to like other people. She partially said us like I also inspired her with like by like starting like a tech company. And it's like so many different stories to like show how the life was like further, like down the road. I mean, and our students, just because like they just got into the school, but I guess like my story is one of the examples. The story of my friends who just like who like, actually didn't get the scholarship to study, but she really wanted to move to Germany, and she really did the most for this. Remember, like how she moved, and she had like money for like only 1 month, and she had to find a job, like just to stay in Germany and get the visa. And right now she has, like she graduated from the top school. She has amazing job. She's living in Frankfurt. She's working for the top company. She's happily married, like they have amazing, pretty dog, and she's happy, like we have right now like almost like 700 mentors who actually studied abroad. And every time when I ask them like, are you happy with your choice? Like, yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's just, like it's not just, like the success in like in money, education, but they're happy, like that's what's the most important. That's like the biggest investment that you get. And I never heard, like opposite.
Super inspirational. Super inspirational. So I think even people who haven't considered to go studying abroad will
Yeah.
consider right now. Or if they already have education, they will still consider right now. So thank you for this, Dasha. And we will go into wrapping up a little bit our talk, like full of inspiration and like everything that you've shared. Being like a successful entrepreneur and the SeedstarsWorld winner, if we come back to SeedStars, so what advice would you give to inspiring entrepreneurs right now who are just starting their journey?
um don't let anyone tell you that you can do something or like something is impossible. I think that's like I would say like hearing no is normal. Hearing that you can't, you don't, you won't, no, this like no component, that's normal. That means that you're going towards certain direction that other people don't see and that scares the fuck of them, but that's where you should go. So like I do remember, like I don't know, like me being, I don't know, like upset or like really taking this personally, maybe I'm doing something wrong, or like like when investors would say me no, like there's something wrong with me. And yeah. And then some point in time, my advisor told me that like that's the process. And like for me, like I don't know, like before I won Seed Stars, we being part of, I don't know, like 25 competitions, and everyone said, guys, not scalable. We never won, and Seed Stars won the first one we won. We got into 2 acceleration programs,
Mhm.
like top like Techstars and Skydeck, and we had 33 rejections before that. We closed, like few millions of dollars in investment, and we calculated 187 investors said us no before that.
Wow.
So it's part of the process. It sucks, it's emotionally tough, but just learn how to embrace it, like, and just never take it personally. And yeah, whenever the idea seems really scary and like I don't know, too brave, and just people can see this, that's just because people can see this. That's not just because you cannot do this. So yeah, no is normal. It's okay, and learn how to drive, like the energy away from this, but not being drained and take it personally. I think that's the most important one because that's what's gonna happen all the way.
Thank you so much for that. And I know that you are using it also on a daily basis. So, yeah, thank you for these words. And yeah, I think we're going to wrap up here. And first of all, thank you so much, Dasha, for waking up so early and being with us. And we're also so happy to see you anytime that when you're presenting at a Seed Stars and now Financial Times in partnerships with. So, thank you for everything you do and for everything that you encourage us to do. So, with that said, thank you so much, Dasha, and I hope to see you again in any other presentations like that.
Thank you so much. Always happy to come back to see stars. And yeah, good luck, everyone. And yeah, was happy to talk to you.
Yeah, happy to talk
Yeah.
to you too. Thank you, Dasha.
Yeah.
I will say myself and going to talk a little bit more about the Financial Times and SDG challenge. So if you want to keep here with me for a couple of minutes, and we're going to be answering questions, and I think SeedStars team will also help us to answer any questions live in the chat. So you can drop the questions in the chat. I will pick it up from there, and the team will be answering them as well. On my end, like just to remind and maybe explain a little bit about the Financial Times and SDG challenge with SeedStars. So this year we partner with the Financial Times to give our global competition a new twist. I'm sure you know about the SeedstarsWorld competition that I was leading as well previous years, but now we're giving it a bigger push, a bigger twist, and we, as I mentioned, partners with Financial Times for that, for make it bigger and greater. And we are focusing now on 6 SDG thematics, which are gender equality, good jobs and economic growth, good health and well-being, quality education that we talked today about, climate action, and reduced inequalities. So we will be having actually also these kind of webinars and presentations on also thematics, but it's not about it right now. It's about the call of applications, because I know that there are a lot of startups and entrepreneurs who are listening to us right now and would like to apply. And why? you need to apply? Well, first of all, as Dasha mentioned, like it's a huge network of people that you will get, but we'll have also a winning prize, which is an investment, is $500,000 in investment and 3 months enrollment to the SeedStars growth program, as well as the visibility package from Financial Times. So just think about it. So I would encourage you to apply, and the deadline is November 1st. So you have like 2 weeks, but again, never try to leave it until the very end, and try to do it right now as we're here as like fresh. And if you have any questions about the application, our SeedStars team is always available. So you can reach out to anyone you know you want to talk to, and to myself, Eugenia at SeedstarsWorld.com. So feel free to do so. Feel free to drop questions, reach out to the team, even like if you have like small details about the application form, you want to check it. So also feel free to ask us. We are always at your disposal. With that said, I'm gonna wait for like maybe 2 more seconds for the questions. And if we don't get any, again, we're remaining available for you. And I'm gonna be wrapping it up. Yeah, well, I think we're good to go. In case you still have any questions and want to, first of all, like important thing that I really need to mention is about sessions. So this session was the second one on the quality education, and we had Dasha Kroshkina, founder and CEO of Studyfree, that was presenting and like sharing her challenges and inspirations and achievements. So we're going to be having more sessions like that on different topics, on different SDGs, as we have 6 of them, like the climate, the reduced inequality, good health and well-being, and economic growth. So you can stay tuned with us. And yes, you can apply for more than one SDG. And feel free to do so if you're impacting more SDGs than one out of those 6 that I mentioned. Yeah, feel free to apply to several of them. Yeah. So stay tuned for the next sessions like that. And I'm just going to remind you who I am. I'm Eugenia, and I'm a growth program manager and UN Women Care Accelerator one. So I'm happy to always participate as a host of such sessions. Hope it was inspiring for you as it was inspiring for me. So are you up to the challenge? I think yes. So let's do it together. Thank you so much. Bye.